All right, we're looking into the new moon in Virgo coming in on September the 2nd. But first, I'm going to go back in time to the full super blue moon that we had in Aquarius almost 2 weeks ago. The full moon in Aquarius was very pivotal. This was a big, massive shift, I feel, that happened with many of us. Some of the patterns that I've been seeing, also, of course, what I experienced. That's why I haven't been recording many videos here over the last almost 2 weeks, because I've been going through an incredible shift. Also, doors opening, a feeling that I am almost stepping into a whole new path altogether, which I feel that in many ways I've been lining up for. There was also a huge surge of energy from the Schumann resonances on top of the full moon. So there was a double dose of energy coming in, which lasted a good week after the full moon. So after the full moon, we have the waning gibbous, which does still cycle out a lot of energy, emotions, processing that happens after the full moon, as the full moons do shake up a lot within ourselves. Can happen very under the surface. Then all of a sudden we may be going through changes and adjustments, integration after the full moon, which definitely did happen for myself and for other people that I've been speaking with. So if it is resonating with you, if you've gone through a difficult week, then take note of what has been happening under the surface. What is it showing you? What is changing within maybe your perceptions, the way that you're viewing or witnessing reality or reacting to certain things, or maybe opportunities have opened up in some kind of way. So everything is going to be up for us to navigate within our deeper self of exploration and tuning in and observing what is really starting to shift within our deeper self, as of course our outer reality is only a mirror of what's happening within here. And that's why these lunar cycles are so valuable to work with, because it also does allow us to shine light on these hidden aspects within ourselves. So take some time, look back a little while to the full moon. What has taken shape? What has shifted? You may have gone through quite a difficult period, and that is okay. What I have learned through these processes is that finding peace in even the darkness and even the uncomfortableness is going to lead to a lot of information to be gathered. So what I have learned through the process of discomfort is leaning into it and observing and feeling and sensing allows for a lot of information to be gathered. It actually also does help the process of integration. What we might do unconsciously is fall into an unconscious behavior of removing ourselves from discomfort, or numbing it out, or becoming discouraged and angry, and letting that discomfort almost control us in a very unconscious way, or interrupt our depth of experience in a very unconscious way. So I want to encourage, if you have felt discomfort or felt anxious or stressed or emotional, go into it and see what is under the surface. What is this period allowing for you for change? And what is it showing you, perhaps? So we can go deeper into these experiences by really feeling into it rather than shutting it out or letting the discomfort almost take over our experiences unconsciously, right? So it does take a little bit of fine tuning and navigating and being open and probing into these areas of ourselves. But the more that we learn how to do this, we will be able to unlock areas within ourselves and see what it is trying to show us, for one, but also work with the process of maybe release or integration or shifting that we could be experiencing. And I feel the last full moon in Aquarius definitely allowed for quite a big shift within many of us, and very well could be the collective as well, of course, as that is the result of our inner journey too. All right, so we're going into this new moon in Virgo. We are also entering eclipse season, which I'll touch on as well. You could be feeling the energy of it. The energy has been intense. As I mentioned, we also had these massive spikes from Schumann resonances. But rest assured, as I mentioned, when we learn to navigate the highs and the lows, these waves and influxes of energetic movement, of emotional movement, of physical adjusting, it will give us a lot of information about our deeper self. And then it will also allow us to trust when we are going through this, and trusting the uncomfortable times, trusting the dark times, and knowing that once we go into it, it will allow for incredible change and transformation in our life. All right, so we're moving into the new moon in Virgo. Now, Virgo allows us to make changes. Virgo is a mutable sign. It is of earth element, and it allows us to ground into change. Grounding and changing almost is a little bit of an oxymoron, but we get to ground into the change in the practical realm. So what needs to change? What improvements need to happen that may have been exposed or revealed during the last full moon? So what have we seen? What have we looked at? What new insights have we gained perhaps during the full moon in Aquarius? Or just in general, what areas can we look at for making constructive changes in our lives? Now, this applies to the practical realm. It applies to our body, our physical health and well-being. Virgo has some archetypes of the healer, of the caregiver, also can be a dietitian, a trainer. So making improvements and adjustments to certain areas of our physical self and our physical space, but also making adjustments so that we can manifest. Now, this is also going to take me into the universal month number 8, which is also going to be an 8/8 month because we also have a universal year 8. So this month in September is a power month. It's really good to know your personal month number as well so that you can gain the most out of understanding what is going to maybe be a theme for you in the month and how to optimize the theme per se. But this month in September is going to be a power month. We have double 8 energy, and 8 is one of the most powerful archetypes in numerology. 8 and 1 both are, but 8 is, of course, representative of personal power, prosperity, and the art of manifestation, the as above, so below. As 8 is the infinity sign on its side, it can be the conduit between the higher realms and the lower planes. So this new moon can be a very, very powerful time for manifestation. New moons are a clean slate, so you get to wipe the slate clean and set new intentions all around change. Maybe change dealing with the relationship with the body. Maybe change dealing with schedule, processes, strategies, etc. But this is all about thinking about where this change is going to lead us for improvements, for enhancing our ability to manifest and to create incredible results as our long term. So this is a time of creating that constructive change and putting in processes and structure into our daily routine, maybe into our work, becoming very diligent with our ability to manifest. Double 8 energy is going to be very powerful to work with for manifestation, for setting these intentions and being really clear about the vision of where we're wanting to go, but also, again, what needs to change, what we can commit to for establishing structure, for establishing some kind of strategy or process. Get those spreadsheets out and start getting really clear about the plan that you want to stick to get to your goals. Also, what improvements need to be made within your health and wellness regime, maybe clearing out the clutter of your home, maybe clearing out old habits, unhealthy habits, and making space for the new. We also have the new moon falling on the second day, which is a beautiful number. The 2 is one of the most sensitive numbers. It is related to the moon. So you may have a greater sensitivity around this time, maybe dealing with intuitive hits or even your own senses coming to life. And this actually will be very advantageous for the manifestations that you're wanting to align with and that you're envisioning that is connected with your emotional self. We are also out, finally, of Mercury retrograde. Well, actually, technically, we are in the shadow period. So there might still be a bit of a lingering aspect of maybe some of the technical glitches or maybe communication meltdowns that you may have experienced. But for myself, I found that this particular Mercury retrograde was the lightest Mercury retrograde that I've experienced. The only difficulty I had was processing information and communicating it effectively and fluidly. I found that my mind and my communication center was a little bit scrambled, but other than that, I found one of the lighter ones. But again, everyone's going to experience this differently. All right, and so getting into the lunar eclipse in Pisces, we have a lunar eclipse coming in later portion of the month, which I will cover separately. And I was a bit confused, truthfully, at this lunar eclipse as we still have the North Node in Aries. We have the South Node in Libra. I thought for sure that we were going to skip over a full moon in Pisces, which I was legitimately upset for Pisces for a second, but realized then after a little bit of research that this is in fact, yes, a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. It is a taste of what is to come with the North Node soon moving into Pisces, South Node in Virgo. I believe it's in 2025, so I will record a separate video on that altogether. But we still have a solar eclipse in Libra that is going to come in October. So this is basically teetering between the current north and south node axis and what is to come. So this lunar eclipse in Pisces is a taste of this shift that we're going to experience. The full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces is going to be very substantial, and you could very well be feeling some of the energy. Now, I'm going to just touch on some of the aspects of this lunar eclipse because I feel that it already is playing into this bigger story of what happened during the full moon in Aquarius recently. So when considering the zodiac calendar, at the end of the calendar is when we move into a greater state of consciousness, awareness, self-actualization, transcendence with Pisces, being very transcendent and connecting with our higher self, seeing life from a 5D consciousness once we arrive there. And of course, as I mentioned in a previous video of the stages of awakening or what happens during the awakening process, transcendence, we can dip in and out of it continuously as we move into this higher state of being. So we can dip into it, we might fall back into the 3D experience, which is completely fine. That is part of the process. But Pisces does bring us into that aspect of ourselves. It does bring us into a higher evolved state of being. It is a very aware, very sensitive, very attuned archetype. And this archetype could be meshing in, or could have meshed in, with the full moon in Aquarius. And I do feel these two full moons are very, very connected. Now that I'm seeing the bigger picture and the bigger context, I feel that what has happened during the full moon in Aquarius has really could have, for many of us, unearthed a lot of depth within ourselves for greater enlightenment, greater awakening, and a big tectonic spiritual shift. And that's where we're going with this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, which I will record a separate video on it altogether. But I do feel the full moon in Aquarius has played into the lunar eclipse in Pisces coming up. And smack dab right in the middle is Virgo. So we get to make the change in preparation for what's to come. Where do you feel called to? If you feel that you are called to a new maybe career path or a new life experience or even an evolved spiritual self, what changes in the practical realm need to be made right now with, again, regards to maybe health and wellness, fitness regime, breaking old patterns and habits, maybe even clearing out the clutter in your space and setting up practical steps and processes for success and to stay diligent with our practice. So even if you are wanting to incorporate a new health and wellness practice, even if you are wanting to evolve spiritually, you might even want to create greater structure and commitment around what needs to be done, the steps, the strategy, the planning in order to get there. So think about your long term, but also think about the steps that need to be incorporated during this new moon to get you to where you want to go, to make those constructive changes. For new moon manifestation, you can write down your manifestations on paper. I also do speak them into the universe and get ultra clear about what it is that you want. The secret for manifestation, the secret for creation is becoming very aligned with the future that we want, the relationships that we want, the person we want to be, all of the details. And that's the beauty of these new moons is we can become very granular about this process and become very detailed, and especially look at aspects that we may not see otherwise, or we may not put attention towards otherwise. So during this new moon, it is a time of getting very clear and precise. Virgo is all about perfectionism, and we can use this to our advantage to get really clear and really precise about what we want to create with the 8 frequency as well in effect, what we want to change with Virgo, what habits we want to break, etc., the strategies that we want to implement and so forth. So become really clear with where you want to go. What's your roadmap for success? What's your roadmap for change? And bring it into this new moon for manifestation. So you want to write it down on paper, you want to speak it into the universe, and you want to also visualize where you're going with this, who you want to be, the kind of changes that are going to appear in your reality based on this new version of yourself. Also, you can run a bath or a shower, wash off the old energy, light a sage or a smudge out your space to clear the old and make space for the new. And of course, if you would like extra guidance on your path, we have the Hive, a beautiful community. The next few weeks in Virgo season are going to be connected with the body for regeneration, optimization, and healing. We have a beautiful group that comes together twice a week where I guide everyone through a group meditation. We collectively come together, and this one is going to have the theme of healing, collective healing, and support for nurturing our body and nurturing the change in our physical space. So you are invited to the Hive. The link is going to be in the description description box below. It's a WhatsApp group. Look forward to seeing you there, and I'm wishing you all the best with this new moon and beyond. Take care.